Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Secrets of a Witch podcast with me, Sabrina Scott, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, witchcraft, magic, tarot, and everything in between. And I hope you guys have been enjoying the podcast so far. It has been an absolute blast to make it. So thank you for listening. Thank you all so much for your amazing feedback. It has just been super fun. So let's just launch right into it. So today's topic is signs that your spiritual protection totally sucks. There is so many signs that can tell us this about our practice. But today, I want to keep it simple and just focus on 3 big signs that your spiritual protection sucks. So let's just launch into it. So not to be blunt, but there is a chance your spiritual protection sucks. It is way more common than you probably think. I've seen this like a bazillion times. A lot of people think their protection is on lock, but after a few conversations to diagnose what is going on with them, One of the things I tell almost everybody that I consult with is that they need to amp up their protection work. So there's a few big symptoms I see when people don't have their spiritual protection sorted out. And some of these things obviously have mundane explanations. That's always a possibility. But once all of that has been ruled out, and if issues keep persisting, it's a great sign that your protection skills could use a little boost. So let's just get into it. So number 1, you're tired all the time. You're tired all the time. Sucks. So chronic fatigue syndrome and other real-life chronic illnesses that result in a lot of tiredness exist. Trust me, I know. I even have one of these myself. So I know sometimes the answer is really just science. Like, you don't need to tell me that. I know. That being said, for the particular thing I have, there really isn't a cure or medical treatment. So it's one of those things that I personally just have to deal with. And so maybe that's the case for you. Maybe it's not. I don't know. And so even though I personally do have medical reasons for feeling exhausted a lot of the time, I've noticed that when I boost up my spiritual protection, and I'm talking shielding, talismans, regular cleansings, regular reinforcement of the energetic protection of my body and home, I tend to feel way less exhausted than I otherwise would, right? Which is why I'm talking about this. So doing regular spiritual protection elevates my baseline from hella exhausted to low-key exhausted. And sometimes I even do have the energy to spare to teach, to have clients, have students, go out for drinks, whatever, live my life, right? So if you're not sure whether or not you've got a medical reason to be tired, like definitely go get yourself checked out, conversation with your family doctor, therapist, whatever. Get some of those blood tests, like whatever it is you need is always the first step to see what's going on. That's my opinion anyway. So mental health conditions like depression and anxiety definitely can relate to tiredness, can definitely make us more tired. And so if that's the case for you, a doctor can definitely help. So yeah, it's just a good idea to go get the doctor stuff checked out. I am a witch who believes in and supports science. I think it's so important. So it's a good idea to check in with your GP, your general practitioner, family doctor. If you're always tired, get referred to a specialist if you need to, and check your blood levels, hormones, all of that stuff, your vitamin levels, blah, 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 to make sure that there's no physical explanation for you being tired, right? Because sometimes that is just the case. Super simple. So if you do find something medical, spiritual protection can still be immensely helpful, like it is for me. So if you don't think it's something medical, I'd really recommend thinking about spiritual and energetic protection as your next big steps to help yourself feel better and live a happier and more comfortable life, because being tired all the time can be a sign that we're taking on too much energy from others. So that could be their projections, their tiredness, their illness, their bad vibes, bad moods, whatever, and allowing that to absorb into our own energy field. right? So when we're well protected, that nasty stuff tends to stay where it belongs, which is elsewhere, right? And maybe, as we're building up our energetic protection and our energy fields, there might be a little bit of penetration of the nastiness or like someone else's bad vibes into our sphere. Like that sometimes does happen. But if you've got the energetic skills and the witchy skills and all of that to manage your energy and protect yourself, you'll be able to get rid of those infiltrated bad vibes and just re-amp up your protection, re-solidify that shield. It is so important. So sign number 2 that your spiritual protection sucks or needs a bit of a level up, you feel like nothing ever goes right for you. So over the years, I've had tons of clients come to me freaking out, wondering if they've been cursed. And if so, how can they remove the curse? So I'll tell you right now, 99% of the time, people are not cursed. They're just making bad life choices or have had a string of terrible luck. It happens to the best of us, honestly. Like sometimes crappy happenings are just random chance and no one in particular is to blame for it. Sometimes that's just life, So that being said, I do believe that strings of bad luck and a feeling that everything somehow is hilariously terrible can be a sign that we need to amp up our spiritual protection. Sometimes bad energy can accumulate over time, which can make us a magnet for even more bad vibes, more bad luck. An occasional evil eye here, someone doing a magical working against us there, and our own dark storm cloud feelings about this or that can all roll together into some giant ball that can be hard to stop. And that is where protection magic comes in and energy work. So usually if we're engaged in a regular spiritual protection process, these little spiritual attacks won't really have the chance to grow and create massive misery in our lives. The bad vibes will dissipate and flow away as a result of our fortified energetic protection practices. So important, right? It's kind of like spiritual hygiene, like brushing our teeth spiritually is one way that I kind of explain this. So when we don't have protection, it's easy for the bad vibes to become a runaway train, ruining everything in sight and taking us with it, right? Like sometimes that is what happens when we're not on the ball with maintaining our energy. So number 3, sign that your spiritual protection is not awesome is that you feel alone. And so I'm going to call myself out here. This one is definitely my own weakness. So whenever I start to feel alone in the world, which does happen sometimes, I tend to see it as a big flashing red light that my spiritual protection practice needs a refresh and a rejuvenation. So you might be wondering why. What does feeling alone have to do with spiritual protection? Well, a huge component of spiritual protection is actually feeling connected to our spirit team. So maybe that's your ancient ancestors, guardian spirits, recently passed family members, the spirit of the universe, God, goddesses, saints, angels, animal spirits, whoever else you call on in times of need, right? So our spirit team, especially when we are connected strongly to them, can help give us guidance both in a tense moment as well as act as a spiritual guardian and protector in normal times. And when we feel spiritually connected, usually that is when our spiritual protection is up to 100 and we are feeling super strong, super good, super confident, super held by the universe and the spirits and all of that, right? So if you feel alone, take a look at your relationship with your spiritual team. Have you been forgetting to pray? Have you been slacking off on offerings, slacking off on lighting candles on your altar? Do you forget to check in? Are the statues on your spiritual desk a little dusty? Have you forgotten that your spiritual team is always there for you, ready to step in and protect you as well as give you guidance? Returning to and recommitting to these spiritual relationships can be immensely important as means of amping up our spiritual protection and just feeling more held by the universe, more connected to the universe, and in touch with our own energy, right? So it's so important. So important. And as I'm talking about not being alone, one of my cats is like headbutting the phone as I'm recording this. So if there's a meow, it is my little baby Choya headbutting the phone and saying hi to all of you. So that being said, I'm curious, how many of these did you relate to? Am I calling you out? And maybe I'm not calling you out today, but maybe you felt like this in the past. Maybe you remember feeling like this. Maybe you know that you kind of dip into feeling like this sometimes. And if that's the case, don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. Like, it really is something that a lot of folks go through, these natural ebbs and flows of energetic work and spiritual work. Like, we can't always be up to 100 all the time. And so it's okay sometimes for us to dip. But if you are feeling any of these three things, these signs that your spiritual protection could use a little bit of an amp up, a refresh, a reinvigoration, a revitalization, and you're not too sure how to do that, one thing I would really recommend is my Visualizing Energy Work workshop. And so the reason for that is this workshop is where I walk you through step by step how to actually do a lot of these energetic practices. And these are practices that I do every day, even now, even though I've been doing this spiritual work for so long. These basics still form the foundation of my practice. And it might seem kind of boring because, like, there's no candles involved, there's no casting of spells, there's nothing like that. It is just those basic energetic principles that are honestly the building blocks of all successful magic, all spiritual work, all witchcraft, and I would also argue all successful tarot readings and divination and spiritual connection. So in the workshop, I walk everyone through how to actually do these things step by step. And so you'll be able to close your eyes, listen to me walking you through how to do these practices, and follow along in real time and actually just listen to how to do these things. So if you really think that you would benefit from someone walking you through how to ground, how to shield, how to do these energetic practices that will protect you and your home, and you want me to walk you through it step by step, and also walk you through a drawing exercise, which I think is really beautiful, and it's why the workshop is called Visualizing Energy Work. And you don't have to visualize it if you don't want to, but drawing the energy around you before and after you engage in these techniques and these practices will really show you, oh shit, this actually does fucking work. This is not just me being delusional. This is not just me making shit up. This energy movement, this energy work does actually happen. It is moving. I am doing this. It is effective, right? And so if you would like to check out that workshop, you can do so on my website. It's under the courses section, which I'm probably going to be renaming that at some point. So if you can't find it, just email me, ceo@sabrinamscott.com. If it's not under courses, I'm going to be updating my website. It'll be under probably self-study, something or another. It'll be there. Again, if you can't find it, holla. I want you to be able to find it because it's just such a beautiful walkthrough on how to work with these energy practices. And these are things I do every day still to keep my energy good and to keep myself protected no matter what else is going on in my life. Because life can be crazy, but our own personal situation does not have to be. So if you're curious about this and you are curious about more of my self-study programs around energy and magic, it is actually bundle season right now. So I just announced all of that to my newsletter. I won't rehash it all here on the pod, but if you're curious and you're wondering what special savings offerings are available right now, just pop me an email and I'll let you know about all the different bundles that I've got. They are pretty juicy and the savings are pretty good. So pop me an email at ceo@sabrinamscott.com if you're curious about all of that. All right, friends, thanks so much for listening. I hope you learned something today, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.